In a small dusty town, where dreams often fade before they even begin, lived a man named Rahim, a factory laborer, and his teenage son, Ayan. Life had never been kind to them. Rahim's wife had passed away when Ayan was just a boy. Since then, Rahim worked 2 shifts a day, welding metal in the heat of the factory, his hands rough and scarred, just to keep a roof over their heads. But inside those same hands burned a quiet fire, a dream not for himself, but for his son. The spark of a dream. Ayan had always been fascinated by muscles and strength. He would watch old bodybuilding competitions on a cracked phone screen and imitate poses in front of their small mirror. While other boys played cricket in the fields, Ayan lifted old paint cans filled with sand, using them as dumbbells. He dreamed of becoming a professional bodybuilder, someone strong, confident, and unstoppable, someone his father could be proud of. Rahim saw this passion. He saw his son's eyes light up every time he talked about fitness. And even though money was scarce and opportunities rarer, Rahim made a silent promise. If my son has a dream, I'll build the path with my own hands. When Ayan turned 17, he wanted to join a real gym. The nearest one charged more than Rahim earned in a week. Rahim didn't say no. Instead, he began working extra hours at night, cleaning the same factory floors after his welding shift ended. He returned home exhausted, his back aching, his eyes bloodshot. Yet every morning he smiled and handed Ayan a few folded notes. For your gym, beta. Go chase your dream. Ayan didn't know his father skipped dinner many nights, or that he walked miles to save bus fare. He only saw his father's pride when he talked about, my son, the bodybuilder. Training wasn't easy. Ayan faced mockery, people laughed at his thin body and poor clothes. But every time he felt like quitting, he saw his father waiting outside the gym, sitting on a broken bench, a lunchbox in hand. Rahim would smile, strong people don't quit, son. Remember that. As the months passed, Ayan's body changed. Muscles replaced bones, confidence replaced doubt. But the diet and supplements cost money. Rahim sold his old motorcycle, his only possession of value, and told Ayan it had broken down. He began taking double shifts again, sometimes not sleeping for 2 days straight. One day, he will stand on a stage, he whispered to himself. And when he wins, it will all be worth it. The fall. One winter evening, Rahim collapsed at work. His blood pressure had spiked, and his hands trembled from years of labor. The doctor warned him. If you don't rest, you may not last long. But Rahim smiled weakly. If I rest, my son's dream will stop. When Ayan found out, he was devastated. He wanted to quit bodybuilding immediately. I can't let you destroy your health for me, Abu, he cried. Rahim placed a trembling hand on his shoulder. Every father's body is built for sacrifice. Yours is built for strength. Let's both use what we have. Those words burned in Ayan's heart forever. The rise. Years passed. Ayan entered his first local bodybuilding competition. He had no fancy clothes, no sponsors, only his father sitting in the front row, wearing his old factory uniform, clapping harder than anyone else. When Ayan stepped on stage, the lights hit his sculpted frame. The crowd went silent. Every rep, every drop of sweat, every night of hunger, it all showed in his body. When he won first place, the announcer called his name, but Ayan looked straight at his father. Tears rolled down Rahim's face. He raised his calloused hands and whispered. You did it, my son. The final sacrifice. Not long after that victory, Rahim's health deteriorated. He had worked too hard for too long. On his last day in the hospital, he held Ayan's hand and said softly. Promise me you'll never stop. Make the world see what a father's sacrifice can create. Ayan promised, through tears, through pain, through everything. The legacy. Years later, Ayan stood on the grand stage of Mr. Olympia, shining under blinding lights, his body a masterpiece of willpower. As the judges announced his name as the champion, Ian closed his eyes and saw his father, sitting in the old gym corner, smiling, holding that lunchbox. He lifted the trophy high and whispered, "This is for you, father." And at that moment, the entire world saw not just a champion, but a son built by his father's sacrifices, strength, and love.